Is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We all know our nation's drowning in a sea of red ink, but earlier this week we learned that the sea is even deeper than we knew. On Monday, we learned that this year's deficit is now projected to be $1.84 trillion, about $90 billion higher than we were told in February. And what's the majority's answer to record-setting deficit spending? Well, of course, it's more spending. The bill we're debating today would add an estimated $40 billion in new spending. And despite the majority's hollow promises of fiscal responsibility, there is nothing in the legislation to offset this hefty price tag with spending reductions elsewhere. This is just more of the same borrow and spend and borrow policy that we've seen under this majority and this administration. This motion to recommit is a small but meaningful step to reverse that trend. It allows this bill to take effect exactly as the majority has drafted it, as long as the federal deficit is below $500 billion. Now, we're not gutting the bill, we're not damaging the schools, or doing any of the other things that the majority will surely accuse us of. We're making this bill exactly as it is now. The only difference is that when our nation's deficit exceeds $500 billion, we will not authorize the funding for this particular new program. $500 billion is an awfully high bar. In fact, the entire time George W. Bush was president, in fact, the entire history of our great nation, our deficit has never exceeded $500 billion. That is until this year, in which we're facing a deficit of $1.84 trillion. I urge members to vote yes on this motion to recommit and send a signal to the American people that we're serious about taming the deficit. Maybe one day the federal government will be able to afford $40 billion to tell schools how to maintain their facilities, but that day is not today. This motion to recommit ensures that this new program will wait until we can afford it, until the American people can afford it. And before I close, I'd like to point out that the Obama administration may feel the same way. The administration did not issue a statement of administration policy on H.R. 2187. That's a deliberate decision not to endorse the bill, and that is conspicuous. I can't help but wonder if President Obama agrees that now is simply the wrong time to swipe a $40 billion charge on the government charge card and send the bill to our children and our grandchildren. And I urge a yes on the motion to recommit.